something is due, Well, good morning. For your patience. This, for the record, this is not a commissioner's court meeting. It is titled a public interest meeting. And there will be no official votes taken here. We are operating for as tutors, which I had much in the way we operate ourselves, town meetings and HOA meetings, information sessions. It's not a commissioner's court meeting. There will be no votes taken. There's nothing that would be into the record of the town at all. It's just a public interest meeting. And I want to thank you all for being here. You're here because I hope because you love Fort Lee County. And I love Fort Lee County. Again, I'm Grady Prestage, and I've had the big pleasure of serving on commission since January 1st, 1991. I've seen this county grow and basically move suburban county to an urban county, a largest county in the state of Texas, one that we're all proud of. Again, we're here because we love Fort Lee County. Going back, proposing this interest meeting conditions that's in the court.
Yes, good morning, everybody. It's so good to see you. For my targets, they held me up over at the Fort Bend Regional Partnership for what we talked about on the future of Fort Bend County this morning. Much in the same way that we have that discussion on some of the updates and work that's ongoing here today. Commissioner Prestage and I wanted to make sure that we had this meeting today to continue to keep the public informed on issues that are impacting. And of course, one of those being the operation of our mission report, which I believe we will give a readout of that. But I wanted to make sure that people have an opportunity to understand how we are being blocked from talking about these things in open discussions and business court as it exists right now, because of the various situation we now find ourselves in this county. I'll read just the letter that I submitted into the public record last week that explains why we are being blocked from performing our duties in this court. That gives a pretty clear explanation. And it reads as follows. This is transmitted to our county clerk, Laura Richard. Under Chapter 81 of the Texas Local Government Code, a county commissioner serves as a member of the commissioner's court and must take a sworn oath of office to protect and defend the laws of the state and the United States. As a member of the commissioner's court, my fiduciary and executive duty is to Fort Bend County and ensuring its operations and actions are lawful. In the absence of an active legal court order, the legal opinion of the county attorney's office, the chief legal officer of our organization, is the guiding legal authority for Fort Bend County. On Tuesday, June 23rd, 2026, the elected Fort Bend County attorney provided privileged legal guidance on Daniel Long's status as acting county judge. While I am not waiving attorney-client privilege, I am submitting another version of that guidance as provided Long file number 26-ATV-34657-0. Appendix A to this letter is available publicly for people to inspect. That legal guidance clearly stated that Mr. Long's appointment, which was the result of a temporary order and a civil suit, is no longer effective since the civil suit was non-suited and effectively dismissed. A thorough analysis of the legal issues and legal opinions can be read in court filing in cause number 26-HCV-346620, the state of Texas versus Daniel Long, which I believe the commissioner is going to give us a summary readout of later. The county attorney's guidance is clear. Mr. Long has no legal grounds to remain as acting county judge, and that any authority he must possess to perform the duties of county judge has been extinguished as a matter of law. Therefore, any action taken by Mr. Long after the dismissal of the civil case that temporarily appointed him is unlawful and can be legally challenged or voided and would represent a legal usurpation of the office of county judge. Such actions include filing of official county notices, the publication and votes on actions made by Commissioners Court, grant applications, directions given to county staff, encouraging himself to discuss specific county matters, and the funerals of everything that Mr. Wong speaks or acts on behalf of Fort County. That unauthorized action all creates sufficient legal exposure to Fort County. As a fiduciary officer of Fort County, it is my duty to preserve and to prevent and limit risk to Fort County and its residents. After being notified of these significant legal issues, Mr. Wong has chosen to ignore that guidance of the county chief legal officer and organization's general counsel. Every action he undertakes creates additional legal exposure. In fact, Mr. Wong continues to exert authority without providing any legal basis for such authority, which places every action he takes into question. As a foreign officer of Commissioner's Court and Fort Bend County, it is my intention to adhere to the legal space given by the county's chief legal officer on civil matters. Therefore, I will not participate in any action that may be tainted by the unauthorized participation of Danny Wong. Those actions include, but are not limited to, Commissioner Court sessions where notice has been unlawfully given with Mr. Wong's signature, and votes where Mr. Wong participates, and any actions made at Mr. Wong's behest. To do so, to violate my sworn duty as an elected official and my fiduciary duty as executive of our organization. Mr. Wong has presented numerous opinions to prove his authority. Has been providing numerous options to prove his authority. However, he has refused to provide a valid legal court order, one legal opinion that holds greater guiding authority than the county attorney's office. Knowing that his actions continue to bring sufficient risk of legal exposure for the county, Mr. Wong continues to assert himself as county judge. He has refused to recuse himself from county business, even though all county business could legally move forward without disruption if he was not present. He also first filed suit against the county, C-Cause numbers 26-346-570, placing himself in a clearly adversarial position to the organization. It is clear by his actions since receiving legal guidance that Mr. Wong will continue to put his personal interests above those of the residents of Fort Bend County, the Office of County Judge, and the organization of Fort Bend County. I'll continue to perform my duties to Fort Bend County to protect its interests, to limit risk to our county, and to work with all staff and officials in their authorized and lawful capacity. It is my sincere hope that all staff and elected officials will follow the legal guidance of our organization. To do otherwise would be to knowingly act in bad faith and expose each individual to possible criminal and civil penalties. So I stated that last week in the public record.
And I submitted some document, it's not quite as wordy, but to say that, as a matter of principle, why would you risk all the actions that we take for personal agenda? The Commissioner's Court can function with 4 members, 4 newly elected members. And as senior member of the Commissioner's Court, I've had an opportunity to preside over the Commissioner's Court for 25 years as the senior member in the absence of the newly elected county judges. And this is my 6th county judge. So we can function if we follow the Commissioner's Court. You see that during the course of the year, if there are a handful of votes that aren't unanimous, I'd be surprised. Now, redistricting and some other race issues produce a few more split votes. But generally, the Commissioner's Court members, it's almost very good. That's what we do. That's what we do. We are full-time employees. We have a capable, competent staff, and we have all week to research the issues, understand what they are, and when we come to Commissioner's Court, we prepare to vote. And most of the time, you see, again, there are a few race issues every now and then, but the court can function with 4 members effectively for the rest of this year until a county judge is elected by the voters and take office on January 1st. That's the basics. So I'm going to question you that with the tax dollars are at state and set aside this handle business move forward. Stated that this without a commission's board meeting. And so there are no real rules other than what Commissioner McCoy and I really want to lay out. But we do want to offer the public an opportunity to make some comments, announcements, or things that pertain to the agenda. The agenda is basically what you see here in print. We're going to talk about projects. It's an important part of what we do. Parks, road projects. There's not even on file that said with chief report from the county attorney's office, which is not going to happen. That is the backdrop that Commissioner Ford gave us from our school was satisfies. Can be informed with what the law says, how eyes and how we're operating. So, if anybody public wants to come and make any comments about items on this agenda? Yes, Commissioner.
Excuse me. Yes, Commissioner. We have one person who signed up for public comment. That is Mr. Anthony Luxmar. He wants to speak on agenda item number 5.
Start little notes down, feed on with comments. My name is Anthony Luxmar. I am on the board of directors for Fort Bend, ULAC, and have been addressing the commissioner's board over the course of the last year on several occasions. ULAC is a nonpartisan organization, and so I'd like to think that we're speaking on behalf of the citizens that are members of our organization. And the first thing I wanted to do was comment on what I continue to see, and many people have addressed me as disingenuous action by the Fort Bend County person sitting in the seat of the Fort Bend County judge right now. I think two things in particular demonstrate this is problematic. Number one is his retention of a private attorney in order to defend and maintain his the seat that he has right now on the taxpayer's dime. And as many people have expressed to me, this is very problematic when we have a county attorney who has addressed these issues. Secondly, and you know, I know that I've talked to several people about this and they deny it on the other side, but you know, the air conditioning issue, even though it seems trivial, it really talks about a lot to what is going on here. The fact that the Fort Bend County could not restore some type of even temporary air conditioning for 9 weeks there, it says a whole lot to me about the disingenuousness, and not to mention the comments that I've heard like, well, we're waiting for parts, or you know, it has to be approved by a committee. You know, these are all, I mean, you can go to McDonald's and they'll have a temporary air conditioner in there and it's going to be comfortable for people to work. This is also a big building, so there are plenty of other rooms that somebody could be allocated to somebody so they could carry on the county's business. Now, that would not be enough had they not, on top of that, as the day after they restored air conditioning, the attorney's office posted a Facebook or social media post that declared it congratulating everybody for National Air Conditioning Day. That was really problematic and disingenuous to me, and really told a lot about the people that were posting it. And I find it extremely regretful. The second thing I wanted to address was the fact that you both have endured a whole lot of criticism by not being at the meetings, but you've also been very transparent as to why. And that is because you're protecting the interests of the county of Fort Bend County and the taxpayers. And to me, it transcends the idea that this is a political issue.
you all just mentioned that you're able to carry on business and you've had agreement on a lot of things, and that says a whole lot about where you're at. And I'm sure that should the ruling come, you know, from the Texas Supreme Court that he can sit in that seat till November, then, you know, by all means, we would carry on. I respect the idea that you would carry on the business of this county. However, again, there are fiduciary responsibilities that you're carrying out, and then in general, the rule of law needs to be respected. And we find it very unfortunate that this is not taking place. But I wanted to thank you all again for what you're doing and remaining transparent and keeping us posted on what things are going on, as well as carrying on the business of Corbin County and taking care of the taxpayers. Thank you.
Thanks. I don't think anybody signed up, but,
No one else has signed up.
but feel free to see the opportunity to give comments on the thing that on the agenda. Yes.
Hi, my name is Margaret Kindred, and I had to come today because first of all, I want to thank you two for standing up for Fort Bend voters who put you in office and who want this government to run correctly. I'm very concerned about someone who's innocent, who was not elected by the voters, who refused to move, get out of the way, and allow county business to take place. I've owned a home in Fort Bend County for 44 years. I've taught special needs students in Fort Bend County for 20 years. And during that time, we taught the importance of character traits, honesty, integrity, respect, trustworthiness, respect. And what's going on right now? If we allow it to happen, I can set a precedent for what could happen. And I don't want to be represented by people that I vote or people who are elected by majority voters. I really think that what disturbs me also is that the voters elected KP George as the Democrat representing us as the county judge on the seat because of his behavior, his actions that were unethical, and the court found that he was not abiding the laws. He is no longer here. Because he was upset that the Democrats called him out on it, he switched to Republicans. And then when he was convicted, they used that opportunity to take a Democrat seat that he switched to Republicans and put a Republican who's running for the chair that he's in. I don't know if he's ever been county commissioner, but it seems like he's learning on the job. And I'm concerned that my tax dollars are being used to pay his salary during this time. His salary should not go after the point of time where his responsibility is going to end it. And I don't think our tax dollars should pay for him to sit here and hold up our government any longer. I want a refund. I appreciate you all voting out. I'm old school. I went to free schools 60 years ago. I know the importance of standing up for what you believe in. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices. Sometimes you have to do what doesn't feel comfortable. And I appreciate you doing that. Because if you don't do it now, what comes later is worse. And we need you to stand up now and stand up for what you believe in, stand up for what's right for the voters of this county. That's all I need to say. Thanks so much.
anybody else from the public that wish to make comment on the items on the agenda? Good. Good morning. My name is Grady Prestage. I'm the personal east side. Yes, I'm concerned about the judge seat also because as stated, KP North was going to get elected by the voters as Democrats. And plus, even Republicans rejected him finally. So it's Republicans should not have authority. Voters are the ones that have the authority to select which are our leader, county judge, which is the Democrat still. Voters are not in favor of the 15 years. That has to happen. But we have to still wait if they want to change or not. But also our party, the Democratic Party, has the authority to appoint a Democratic, not the judge. The judge might have the authority. Party should have the authority to put in fulfill an vacant seat, which is the Democrat seat. And that's very important. And it's right now conservatively, the justice has been done by Mr. Long in his past. Oh, especially this toll road, which is putting our east side in danger, restore our environment, forests, and then not only that, some of them did take one property owner of 2,000 acres, and which is not even to the public, not that, it's going to put public in danger, new homes in flood zone areas, and it's not going to benefit 19 Alvin and restoring all that. We saw this is forest land and forest land, and there's only developers, the ones that are benefit. But it's going to put us and leaving our old roads and like in Brazil, the community, like 521 and all that on hold and being left behind with no means to and saw it's not really wisely. Over the 150, stagnant. So we need to fund our public roads instead of building new ones just for the developers and big money makers and giving us support behind. So it does matter if this judgment remains should be democratic, fulfilled and selected by our party, Democratic Party, members and chairs. But those ones have the authority to select one. Judge not. Let's be illegal that the law is broken. State law is broken, which is expecting our right. Even federal level, they find destroy and live it off with what's to be heard. Chef Tori and Richard, everybody has equal justice and fair justice to all, and not only for money makers. To y'all that be served, not that you let behind. We got projects like say 521, both sides of Highway 6 and south side of Highway 6, and then our that's been total. So very important to bring in justice and I support our county attorney doing a good job of deciding for the people, make sure our ways there. Thank you very much.
Thanks, sir. In normal public comments and commissions board, they impose limits on time, and I make it effective. So I look at it. So work for you. You should afford you the opportunity to express yourself. So we won't put any time limits on it. We like to kind of keep on certain matter possible. And then maybe some back and forth that we can have from Torian in this format that we wouldn't have. A couple of people mentioned Katie George. That's I don't give a comment. You know, for the record, technically, Katie George is still the county judge. I've been moving off. He has been suspended by the criminal court without pay in his appeal. So there are questions out there, comments made about the commissioner's court appointing somebody. We don't have the authority to appoint someone because that position is now vacant. It's still occupied by Judge George. The appointment was legal. And I respect that they will do that. Understand we had a lot of time, but also that June 17th we had suitable position to go away. Still mentioned the best position, that's the reason why, we're having the next commission. I'm not like you were saying, again, so there's some pursuit out for my board record. So hopefully that we'll have soon rather than later that will be this the candidates that for. Again, if I just have any counsel and get about items of the agenda, which looks like.
Morning, everyone. Good morning, commissioners. My name is Tony Aranda, and I am a Fort Bend resident, precinct 2. For 22 years, I served in the Marine Corps. And I showed up every day. I disagreed with many people that I was in that office with. But I showed up. Much like there's a park event going on this weekend in this very city. And I intend on showing up. It's not for me, it's for the community. It's for my boys. It's for my wife. It's for my family. As a leader, you don't go and do things that are comfortable for yourself. You don't do things that are comfortable for the other people. You do what's right. Now it's left and right, all this right and wrong. Why would we go away from the rule of law and have our own agenda, our own commissioners court? If we did that in the Marine Corps, that's what's called mutiny. In other words, we're not in obedience to the law. We're doing what we want to do. Commissioner Prestage, coming into this, I looked up to you because right now you're my competition. You're the best. I have high esteem in regard for you for the things that I've heard on both sides of the party. And I said, that man's a leader. Because he's been in that position for over 36 years. And to see this as a Marine is not a good example of leadership in my humble opinion. I don't have 36 years of leadership in government, but I have 36 years as a Marine. That should count for something. Not leading by making decisions, but working with people to come to resolutions. Even when I didn't agree with all the policies, even when I didn't agree with the mission. You could have showed up and abstained from voting. You could have showed up and said no on the vote. You could have even mentioned in the remarks, this is an illegal meeting. But I'm here to respect the people, and I'm going to represent my people. I don't feel represented by you, Commissioner Prestage, and I'm sorry to say that. It disheartens me to speak like this and speak to you in this manner. Commissioner McCoy, I'm glad you're not my commissioner. I don't know how many people feel that way, but it's not about whether we like it or not. What I'm thinking too is the leadership aspect. Both of you have the opportunities to show up, and yet you chose to, what some people would say, stand up for what's right. Instead, you said, no, that's too hard. I don't want to be challenged with that. Leaders don't run. They face the challenges. They deal with the hardships. They represent the people. They're a voice. You are not here for 3 commissioners' courts. I didn't have a voice. How many other people will say that? How many people am I representing right now in precinct 2 or precinct 4? This is not leadership. And we know leadership trickles down. If the directors and representatives and the employees in this government in Fort Bend County are seeing what you all are doing, they're going to do the same thing. Why? Because they look to you, they look at those positions as leadership. Who should I follow? Who should I emulate? Should I run from the difficult times, or should I run towards the gunfire? What are my leaders doing? That's what I'm going to do. Now I know what you're going to do when things start getting hard, when things start getting tough. Can I count on you in the future? Can I count on you for the next 4 years? Or should I be looking to somebody else? I don't say these words lightly, sir. That was my view of you. It has slowly diminished.
And it continues. Are you gonna show up for the next 4 years? Are you gonna be here next week or the week after? Are you gonna represent me or represent yourselves? Are you gonna stand up like men and face the opposition? Or are you gonna go into the field position and say, I can't handle this? I can't stand up for my constituents in this. This is too hard, this is too difficult. Will I see you there on Saturday? Will I see you in the future at other events where the community desires to see your faces? Or should we be voting in other people? Please continue doing it. I humbly disagree with that, and I'm sure a lot of residents in this county disagree with it, as well as some of you. But from a leadership perspective, it is unsat, it is unbecoming, and it is uncalled for. Thank you for your time, for listening, I appreciate it.
Thank you for your comments, and I appreciate your service to the county.
I wasn't hating, sir. Don't man, whoever said that.
That sounds like maybe to me.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Linda Coleman. I'm speaking to you on behalf of the AACP for this county. Let me say thank you for your position. Thank you for your courage. Thank you for upholding the process. And that's what we're addressing today, the process. There's a process in place for this event, and we should follow it. If we fail to do so, we make up rules as we go, which is what I saw happen on May the 28th, when a child was disrespected and the whole commissioner's court did not take a picture with a child. After that event, I started looking at Commissioner's Court differently. Commissioner Court has lost its honor. After that event, I'm looking a lot closer at who's representing this county and what the Commissioner's Court stands for. And from my point of view, I do not like what I see. If you will not follow the process, change the rules when it's convenient for you, you harm all of the county. You harm all of the county. Please, county commissioners, do your job. Thank you.
Hello, Commissioners. How are you doing today? My name is Commissioner Oliver, and I did not plan on speaking, but I wanted to say that I'm also in Commissioner Grady Prestage Precinct in 2050. And I want to let you know I approve of what you're doing. It's no way that we have someone here that would disregard law. And I need someone to stand up for me and protect me in Precinct 2. I would rather you host this and continue to address us and let us know that you're standing up for us, that you're fighting for us like how you have been doing for 36 years. This is sit on a court. Allow your colleagues to disrespect our county attorney and have things passed that cannot be passed. That's not going to be passed because we do not have legal courts. I think we confuse what is being seen on social media and what's actually being done. Right now, it's not the time to point fingers and want to keep business going because business is not going as it should be. We need fighters. And I think I can speak for Precinct 2 and for us to say that we do have those fighters. Thank you guys for what you're doing. Thank you for supporting and protecting me. And whatever you need from me, I always have it. Thank you.
Good morning. I had no intention of speaking this morning, but I feel I have to rise and say this. Thank you, Commissioner Prestage, for 36 years of representing me in precinct 2. Thank you, Commissioner Dexter McCoy, for representing precinct 4 and hopefully representing the county in the future in the excellent way you have done your precinct so far. I had to stand because my career was purchasing and contracting. And I know how ugly it can get when a company does not get what it wants or what it feels like it should have had. I totally stand with you and thank you for standing for the county, even though your position may not always be popular. But it takes a man to stand up when something is not right, or when you feel or know it's not right. I totally agree with you. I've seen times when things were not properly put in place. And the company suffered. Will have to be the same thing with this county. Should a company sue for actions that they felt were not done properly, and the result in not properly took place. So thank you for standing, even though it may not always have been popular. It was very popular for some people who could see what you're trying to do. And I would encourage both of you to continue to stand for the people you represent. I voted for you, Commissioner Prestage, for all the time I've been in precinct 2, Portland County. Commissioner McCoy, if I would have lived in your county, I would have always been. I took the time to visit precinct 4 to see the things that have been accomplished there. Commissioner Prestage has had more time than you to accomplish things. But for the things that you got accomplished in precinct 4 since you were here was nothing short of commendable. Now that is my opinion. So I mostly stood up here to say thank you. And thank you for holding up this county, trying to do your best to keep it from making a terrible mistake or terrible mistakes that may cost it lots of money and other things.
Thank you. Good morning, Commissioner Prestage, as well as Commissioner McCoy. I didn't plan to speak. I intended to do my 3 minutes at Commissioner's Court. And but I got a little stuttered. And for those of you who know me, you know I have to get it out. Strong leaders have to take the road less traveled. Strong leaders have to go, even if they have to go all by themselves.
Say that again.
And as I have worked with you two in one way or another since 2008, you know that's who I am. So I encourage you to stand your ground. Currently, the Commissioner's Court meetings are illegal. And your presence, or shall I say, your absence, denotes that. Being there in some respects, is capitulation. Because you go in as an abstaining vote. So you're part of it. And you chose not to. So I appreciate it. In the military, you don't have a choice. That's the military. That's how it goes. But in leadership, in government leadership, you have a choice. And you're taking the road that's traveled, and I appreciate you. And until this matter is settled by the courts, because it is started off wrong, it should never have been done. And just as I said before, once you start off wrong, it just keeps going wrong and wrong and wrong. At some place, you got to reset, hit the reset button and write it. And that has not been done. So, gentlemen, thank you, and keep the faith and keep up the good work.
My name is Lisa Valdez, and it was, excuse me, I'm not an eloquent speaker, but, I am a Fort Bend County resident, have been my entire life. I am a taxpayer, and I am a, Commissioner McCoy. You are my commissioner. And, I want to say thank you for what you both are doing. I have had the privilege of being able to speak with the county attorney to further understand the legalities of what is happening, to educate the people. Because what happens is sensationalism has been winning far too long in our media instead of education. And so, some of you know here I am part of the Black media, but I'm standing here as a taxpayer, a concerned citizen, and trying to educate the public on what is really going on. That with Wong being where he is at is, and what he is conducting is legally questionable, is a waste of our tax dollars that could be spent on so much more than is needed on our county. And so, Dexter McCoy, I am so glad you are my commissioner. Now, as the resident, there are some things that I have come to you that I just don't agree with, but you have done great work. You answered really quick, and I'm like, hey, there have been a lot of car accidents right here. I need this, we need this. And you have right away answered. So I'm glad that you represent me. Okay, and so I am disheartened that this situation has been taken into becoming almost a joke on social media by Wong himself. It is very disheartening. To me, people speak of you not going to commissioner's court and it's on there and he's joking about it. And I'm like, is this what my tax dollars are being used for Wong to post, or his staff to post on social media as a joke for you standing up for us? Because sometimes not showing up means standing up. And I truly appreciate you both for that. And I hope that you continue. I'm sorry that you are facing such negative, whether it's heard online, because I can respect if someone comes up to you respectfully, but these jokes, it's awful. So as a taxpayer, I want to thank you for what you are doing, for standing up for us, because I know the legalities that will come into question will be further waste of our tax dollars that can be put to use something better in our schools, our parks and so forth, flood control, and all of that. So again, that's basically what I'm here to say. And I thank you for taking the time to do this. I thank you both. I know Dexter, I see you a lot in the community, talking to the people, because everybody doesn't have the privilege to be here today. people, work and so forth. And a lot of people don't understand how government works. So I have seen you personally speaking to the people, breaking it down simply so that they can understand. And I really, really want to thank you for that.
Good morning. I am Sophie Williams. I started the community here in the Fort Wayne area, talking to ladies freshmen. We have about 1,500 ladies across all the cities that are looking for others to do life with. And so I am here to speak about agenda item number 6. And I will be quick. I don't know what's on the descriptions about the parks and recreation. But I'm just curious to know if there is a plan to bring more public tennis courts to our areas. I have just realized in pickleball, that's something that relates to my community. We're just looking for things to life with, whether that's health, wellness, or business and finance. We have workshops, we have co-working sessions, we have presenters, and a bunch of things like that. And our demographic is Gen X and Gen Y, so we have a lot of ladies over 40, a lot of ladies over 50. We're simply just looking for others to do life. And so I just came today to ask about colors. And so those were tough acts to follow, but I just had some questions about it. So that's it. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Karen Webster. I am a constituent of Precinct 2. I have lived in Fort Wayne County for over 20 years. I am the founder and leader of Independent Fort Wayne County. But I'm not here to speak in that capacity. I'm here to speak in the capacity of a constituent and a very angry constituent. I'll start off with something that my big mama imparted on us, and it's I was reminded of it since last week for the anniversary of John Lewis's death. That when you see something that is not right and not just, you have an obligation to say something. I rarely get to make it to commissioners' court meetings, but I do watch online. Within the past month or so, what I have seen is the most egregious display of power and overreach I believe I've ever seen on a local level. For the past decade, and definitely within the past year and a half, we've seen a lot of it and have been fighting it on a national level. Last year, we began to experience it at the state level. And to now be dealing with things at this level in the county in which I live, where people believe that they have a right to take power and hold on to it when they know that it is wrong. It should anger every constituent in Fort Wayne County. Like the lady who spoke about knowledge about purchasing and contracting. I used to work for AT&T, and I was in the government education space. And actually, Fort Wayne County was one of my state's clients. And so I understand what it is to bid, open RFP, and to have it awarded to someone else and question why that happened. And to also bring legal action against the city or the county or whoever made the decision to question that. That sticks out most in my mind when I see Mr. Wong continue to sit in a seat that he should not be. He is illegitimate. Anyone with a 6th grade education that is able to read knows it and sees it. I want to give you guys the words of support and let you know that we appreciate what you're doing. We see what you're doing. We all understand why you are doing it, despite what is said online or what is said out in the blogosphere. People that just choose not to understand. I also want to say that we strongly support the county attorney in what she's trying to do, and we ask that you all continue to stand strong for what is right. We're putting the constituents of the county first
for recognizing that these are serious situations beyond, I think, what sometimes the general public understands. When we see, I know for me, when I see people from a certain party come to public comments and complain about money being expended for out-of-state travel to conventions and these types of things, and those are maybe a couple $1,000, which I'm not saying that's not, something to be concerned about, but are quiet as we experience someone diligently sitting in a seat, making purchasing decisions and signing off on grants that in some cases are in the millions of dollars. They show no concern for that because the person that they want is sitting in that seat. We should all, it should be more than party. It's definitely not a party issue to me. I would have been just as enraged and upset if Commissioner McCoy had been decided on to temporarily sit in that seat and accepted it because I expect more from my party. And I expect more from Commissioner McCoy. And respectfully, I believe that he would have done the right thing even then. So that being said, I will close with this. I open with comments. I'll close with comments. And now I'm going to speak as an individual. I have and will continue to encourage both our members and everyone under the sound of my voice in Fort Bend County who is a resident to show up here each and every time Commissioner's Court is open and Mr. Wong continues to sit there illegitimately and make their voices heard. We are going to get in some very necessary good trouble today, as John Lewis would say. Anyone here who'd like to join us, we will be out at the public interest protesting at noon. And many of us have signed up for public comment during Commissioner's Court. Again, thank you guys so much for what you're doing. Stand strong. We have your back.
I do want to say that I want to make sure that the public has an opportunity to get some updates on this very, very important work that's happening in our precincts. And I appreciate the question about parks. That's some of the things that we're most excited about that we work on. I would just say, just again, this whole situation has been incredibly frustrating. And I think that's for everyone who is involved. And the public especially, because, a lot of people disengaged from government politics for this exact reason. And it seems as though those in elected office spend more time talking about themselves than talking about you. And the hardest part of this for me is I ran for this office to make sure that I can deliver results for my community. And right now, not being able to fully carry out all of those duties, being blocked from doing that for no real good reason, it really is awful. We continue to say, paving roads and paying bills is not a partisan issue. And there is absolutely nothing that is on Commissioner's Court agenda right now that is partisan. We might not agree on, some money you spent here or there, but we have 4 duly elected members of the Commissioner's Court who can take care of the business without the cloud of uncertainty over whether or not that business will be fairly instituted. And, we offer, hey, and I'll just be clear here to Mr. Wong, if you want to go give the proclamation, those who get events, whatever, I don't care about that. I want to be able to come up here and do my job in paving the roads, paying the bills. And right now, we cannot do that. And, I could appreciate the sentiments from the public about us not being physically present in Commissioner's Court. And I can appreciate how on the face of that, it looks like we are not showing up. because you don't see us every day in our office when we're taking the position concern. So when we're out, like we were recently surveying some of the drainage issues in our community and trying to deliver in a road pave over in Four Corners, make sure the residents' concerns about their culverts were addressed. I get it. But to use a military example, if a JAG officer said that another officer no longer had a legitimate authority to command, you would not then say that that person gets to stay there in command when the chief legal counsel of the military has told you that that person no longer has the authority to command. Because for that person to continue to command would itself be illegal. And that's where we find ourselves today. We cannot participate in something that we have been informed by our chief legal counsel for the county that is essentially unlawful and for which there is no legal basis, period, full stop. And the option is very clear, right? It doesn't have to be about us. And, I can do the petition if my colleagues didn't want Commissioner Prestage to chair Commissioner's Court, then appoint one of themselves. That's fine. We just need to get back to business. And again, without the cloud of whether or not our actions will be voided and overturned, take that time and I offered that before we walk out of the meeting, take the meeting, come back and produce the legal order, and I'll respect that and we'll move on. But we shouldn't have to be put in this position to violate the law, as our bill says, by playing court when we don't have the legal authority to take the actions with one member here with that issue. So with that, there's also a report readout of that synthesizes the full warrant of case that the county attorney has put out. And I think, it's a 52-page document. I recognize that most folks won't read that. And so if there's a report, we'll make that available for those who won't labor it by reading it here. That kind of breaks it down and synthesizes the high points. I think it's important for you to read it. And I encourage everybody, no matter where you stand on this issue, go read it and you go, follow what the law says and see if you agree with the logic of that. But it's important to take the thorough investigation yourself, read it, to truly understand why we're in this situation. And again, simple, the solution is real simple. It's for the long, we could take a step back and let us proceed and carry on the business. And until we have a law that allows us to proceed with what we have. That's all I'll take here. Can we move on to input parts first for the mobility? If we have Mr. Lance Turner, our program manager for all of our
You move forward. Forward.
you want to let's do two first and what do you two? Over.
So, we have a presentation that sums up a lot of what we're doing with respect to parks. This little bit of history. Fort Lee County's Parks Department was created in 1996. So it's only 30 years old. And it's created based on a decision to consolidate the 4 precinct road commissioners into one road bridge department and create the parks department. And my assistants, as a result of that, the other commissioners weren't interested in parks at the time. Fast forward, everyone's interested in parks. give the opportunity for every kid in Fresno to learn how to swim. The adults live their whole life not knowing how to swim, we come in and get instruction there. We also have a gymnasium, auditorium, that's on that site, and a park, major park project. If you're in that area, 521, you can see that the work going on there. The erecting steel right now, it should be up and operable sometimes next spring or early summer. And there's also a public library, the Fresno Branch Library, being planned and should be under construction sometimes early in 2027. Kitty Hollow Park is getting a major upgrade. Listen, you see the images of the community center building that's under construction. The structure is up and it's moving quite nicely. You're also building maintenance facilities, a 3-mile concrete walking, jogging trail around the park. 2 miles of it will be on the levee along Highway 6. And so it'll be a nice community and it'll make a complete loop. And there'll be a concession to rent bicycles there also. It will be a destination. We're also replacing all the pavilions with new pavilions. Most of those pavilions, 18 of them were built by the park staff in the mid-90s. They were wood 4x4s and corrugated metal, and they lived their life out. Now you can have some very nice new modern pavilions. It's going to be a total facelift of town. We plan to bring in additional trees on our tree farm in Kimmelston to reforest the park. Coming ahead, we have a couple of projects. The Fort Benning Event Center, Darwin mentioned. This is a response to the public. You can't imagine how many requests we get for places to have them. Be it a quinceañera, a mitzvah, baby shower, banquet, party, small banquets. I mean, even city, Missouri City, they don't have a place that can handle their state of city address appropriately in Missouri City. And it pains them to go sugar. Okay. So their engagement, we exercise in this event center. So you see 600 for a banquet and 1,000 seats for theater site seats for a concert or a recital. It'll have a commercial kitchen to accommodate those things, and it has an outdoor being area for use. It'll be a very well utilized facility. It's out for bids right now. Expect the bids to come back the next month or so, and hope to be up construction the first part of 2027. Arcola Community Center is a project that's designed as a near completion. Arcola is a integral part of East Fort Wayne County, and we're going to build the same community center building in Arcola that we just completed in Needville. There's a Sunset Ethical building, 4,000 square foot building that would be something that foster community engagement and all. Again, that's what the people have asked for, and that's what we're trying to do. The Fifth Street Community Center recently came back into Precinct 2. Built that facility in the late 90s. It's well utilized. Boys and Girls Club is part of it, and a Head Start building that's part of it. And we're going to make some significant improvements to it. It needs an upgrade. The Alta Vista Senior Center project that we started Precinct 2, but as a developer district and then Precinct 3. The plans to complete, and we just need to see what direction Mr. Meyer will take on that, but we handed over a police plan specification to build the facility and the funding to the building facility. Blue Ridge Park improvements. Blue Ridge Park is a park that's actually owned by the city of Houston. It's in Fort Bend County, and we partnered with the additional development of that project. It is in desperate need of an upgrade. Some of the upgrades have been done. Parking lot is in. We just got permits for the restroom building, and there's going to be significant improvements to that park. We happen pretty soon. As soon as we get permits from the city of Houston, it's a process. But it just doesn't happen. Next slide. Okay, while I got to Mike, I'm gonna go, I'm also mentioning the Boys and Girls Club. This is one thing that for me, in my career, has been some of my most proudest moments is to open Boys and Girls Club. We have a very unique relationship with the Boys and Girls Club of Greater Houston, where the county builds and owns these facilities, and the Boys and Girls Club does the program. We learned a long time ago that we do what we do best. If the county does best, it's brick and mortar. You can build things with the best of them. We have amazing facilities for the county. But running a program is difficult. That's hard. It's daily action. And so we have a situation where the county now has 5 Boys and Girls Clubs. 5 Boys and Girls Clubs. And that's significant. Okay, there's one in Rosenberg, North Rosenberg. There's one in Mission Bend, which I'm there to build and hand it over to Precinct 4, prior to the district. There's one in Chicago Fort Bend Club, which is across the street from Christian College Middle School. There's one on Fish Street that I mentioned earlier, and there's the new ones in Fresno. Very nice facilities. If you're in the Fresno community, I'm calling Sycamore, Southwest, or Cuba Business. They're at capacity. Okay, and, it's a very welcome addition to that community. Yes, it has kids from 7 to 17, and they pay a $10 annual membership fee, $25 for a summer program. It's a wonderful thing. It's a great deal. There's a major renovation to the Fort Bend Club, which is across the street from Christian College, and the funding came from the Houston Rockets Foundation. We had major upgrades. It's almost a brand new building. We celebrated that a few weeks ago. The South Coast Sportsplex, I'll wrap up parts with that. It is on the same site, Boys and Girls Club and Pinnacle City Center. It's a sports complex with 2 football fields with artificial turf, bleachers, and nice concession facilities, and the baseball complex, which you see the imagery here in the lower right-hand corner, with 4 baseball fields. Recently developed partnerships with the Houston National Foundation for their camps. And they're there, and it's a very nice facility, first class, and around the anything in the city of Houston in this market. It also has a batting cage building, so it has activities that go around outstanding for women. I'm gonna switch right quick while I got stored and go to mobility. We come back. Mobility projects, the 45 projects, more than $92 million of investment going on right now. And it's the typical road projects that we're doing. But there's some things that I want to bring particular attention. And it's Fresno. Carry on here talking about Fresno, that he really loves Fresno, believes in it. And I do too. I served the entire Fresno community for my first 10 years in office. Was over the district when I was gone for 20 years. So 2021, I'm back. I got Fresno in the area that I recognize some things that need to be addressed now that I didn't have the experience, county didn't have the wherewithal to do in my first 10 years of office. And so we make a substantial investment to bring Fresno community. I'm not talking about playing community Fresno, I'm talking about old Fresno. With asphalt roads and open ditches and a lot of substandard development. But we're coming in and making major improvements. One of them here is the Evergreen California streets. That's also something very cool. What you see on here is a artist rendering of the plans that are essentially complete, and we're requiring right of way for construction. If you've ever gone up Evergreen Street, it doesn't look like this. It's a very narrow asphalt road that I would not personally, again, want to drive at night. But we're going to have this concrete street with roundabouts and nested streets and drainage, adequate drainage, and stuff. Really be a boost for that area. That's how it looks now. That's how it's going to look when the construction is finished. So in number of streets we're doing, I think that's what we have right now. So we're going down California Street. This is actually Evergreen Street. This is how it is right now. And we'll morph into what's gonna look finished. Connecting Evergreen Street are 21, at first count, now maybe 17 or 18, third streets. And if you go down those streets, you swear you're in a third world country. And that's not the standard we can start looking. It's been difficult to do in that there are not public streets, but there will be public streets. We're gonna acquire the right way and make those dirt streets accessible and nice. And really look at what's happening. We can talk about all the grandiose things they're doing, but I found over and over again that people let me talk about all the grandiose things. And when I finish talking, they'll say, well, Commissioner, I need my ditches cleaned. I mean, it really breaks down to that. And that's really, it happens over and over again. And I finally got the message, okay? Talking about things out there, grandiose, and not important because people don't have the basics. So in the Fresno community, the basics include public water and something we all take for granted in our planning communities. They don't have that situation. They're having it. We're working with the freshwater supply district that we helped create in the 90s during my first 10 years of office. Now we're trying to be a public water city service to all of Portland County, including the Fresno community. The streets that connect Evergreen Street will be concrete streets, and they'll have public water and sewer. Right now, you can't walk down the streets. The mailman won't go down the street. Ambulance won't go down the street. If Amazon won't go down the street, they've got a problem. We're going to transform these into streets that we're going to be real proud of. And again, it's not about the politics of this, it's about doing what's right. And I'd be real ashamed of myself if I spent time in service to Portland County and leave that how I found it. It needs to be better than that. Now I'm planning to do that on watch. Fortunately, with the support of you, the folks of Portland County, who work for the village bonds, and the folks who live in that part of Fresno, who voted to participate in the county assistance district where they could have 1 penny sales tax generated. That's paying for these streets. And I think the county will benefit tremendously of them. So I think that. Last thing I want to mention, one of the things that we had in our Fresno plan, we actually have a plan, the Fresno plan, which took all these things into account as a roadmap of how we're going to address the Fresno community. One of the things that we were able to do is we made a commitment that we have 10 full-time sheriff deputies to patrol the Fresno community. And that happened. Money from the county assistant district was used to match a federal grant. And the sheriff's department is hiring right now, and they have half of those officers on duty right now. But the Department of Fresno community, one of the major problems we need to address was the random celebratory gunfire. It's not people shoot each other; people just shoot. Okay, and it's a little community most part, and it's the property rights state, and people have a right to their own. And it's not illegal to fire your hand. Okay, but not all the time. And not that's that. I mean, it gets to the point where people are fearful of their own safety because their neighbors have to be addressed. And so, community policing is the answer. And the sheriff department, which doesn't have the wherewithal to do this, but for this special set of funding opportunities, and we're going to do that and address that. And we'll make the overall quality of life better if we can address those issues around celebratory gunfire and just the normal things you have in a community like that with dangerous dogs and a lot of other things that happen. I'm happy that we get that done. And finally, we're working with the emergency services district, 7, the fire district. And we're working with them to help them build an additional station in the southern part of
precinct 2 in the sharing community. And it's a long story of how that comes together. But at the end of the day, I think we will have a much better Fresno community because the result of the campus we're shaping right now with the support of the taxpayer. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Larry Stringer, and we're the project managers for the Parks Fund. And
And just before you start, I think it's important to know, we really want to make sure that y'all are aware of where your tax dollars are being spent, particularly bond funds. Because when, you vote for a bond, you put your faith and trust that we're going to deliver for you, you need to know where that money is actually going. And so this update is very important. There's a lot that's not in here, those things that were changed over in redistricting that we work actively on back in, I'll get some updates on some of those things. But really want to make sure that people have full view of exactly what we're working on right now with those funds. Oh, but I also would say, this early implemented before I start concerned, what was in the 2023 parks and mobility bonds were results of what the community told us they wanted to see. We held around the town hall meetings, around the precinct, hearing that there were folks who wanted to have a water feature in Michigan West, and feeling like they didn't have that. We used to hear about splash pads being built there, hearing folks say that they wanted to actually have access to other amenities in their parks. We're doing some master planning around that. Appreciate all of that. We've been able to do a lot of exciting things that are responses to what we heard directly from our residents in some of these public feedback sessions. So, your current behavior.
thank you very much, Commissioner. Also, before I start, I just want to make a quick note about Fulton County and the parks. One thing about parks is it's a great opportunity to provide health and wellness for the community. And it's also an economic driver for communities. A lot of people move to areas because of the parks. And so the purpose of me being up here today is I want to kind of update the public on projects. The particular projects that I'm going to update you on are Arboretum Cricket Field, Lassie Park, Four Corners Park, and Community Center, Marigold Lamar Homestead Park, Mission Bend Senior Center, Mission West Park, and the T.W. Davis YMCA. First one we'll start with is the Arboretum Park. And with the Arboretum Park, through the 2023 Parks Fund, several improvements have been made over to this particular park. We've installed lights, nettings, sidewalks, batting cages, irrigation, and pavilions have been added as part of those park bonds. The complex sees thousands of visitors per year and is consistently rented. It hosts national youth cricket tournament games every year, and especially over the Thanksgiving weekend. The complex has restrooms with pavilions and fencing to keep all activities within the field of play. This park is located close to the intersection of West Belford and Old Richmond Road. And it was critically needed because cricket has become a real fast growing activity. And so we need to make sure that those type of activities have a place for local residents to participate. Courtney?
What was the location? Sorry.
It's close to the intersection of West Belford and Old Richmond Road.
Thank
Yes, ma'am. And again, this is just to give you a high level update of what's going on. The next project that I'm going to talk about is the Duhasset Park. Duhasset Park is a 50 acre park over off of Old Richmond Road in Balls
and it's in the Sugarlands ETJ. The park is managed in partnership with the city of Sugarland. Currently, right now, a master plan for the park is underway with the consulting firm of KCI. The park will include restrooms, bars, pavilions, available for rental, sand, volleyball, and some of the things that will also be participating in out there and are currently going on are things such as wildfires are planted through the park November through May. With the development of this park, we'll also have a concrete preservation, which is critical for this particular project. Other elements of this park to be included is the historic through house preservation. Will also include 3 sport fields, open for day use, 2 cricket fields, and 1 multi-purpose field as well. Shade structures will be provided for this particular project as well. We'll also have a parking lot that will provide ample parking space in this particular area right here. With the development of the Duvasset Park, one of the things that was very critical was doing public input sessions. And during these sessions, the public had an opportunity to give their input on critical infrastructure that they wanted to see that would be installed in this particular park over here. But what you see on the screen now is the conceptual rendering of the Duvasset Park Master Plan based upon the input that has been received during those public input sessions.
And so just on this, I would say, we appreciate the public that came out to give feedback during our public information session. Soon we'll be going before the Sugarland Parks Board and presenting this plan to the City Council of Sugarland because this is the park that we are in agreement to develop with them. And what you see is a really incredible conceptual design based on the feedback that we received. A lot of folks wanted us to still preserve green space. The trees out there must, by the deed, remain out there. And folks wanted more spaces that they could rent out for pavilion space and field, sport field space. And so this is what this accomplishes. The plan will take a phased approach. I think we had, can you remind me on what we're starting with first? Our goal is to start with first on this.
Yes, so some of the additional things that will be put in is, of course, with any project, we always have to install drainage. And so we'll have some of the parking, the drainage, the restoration of the new house, and some of the playing fields will be installed in the initial first phase.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. I would also like to mention too that with Duvasset Park, there will also be a dog park out there as well, because our friendly coordinated friends also need a place to come out and participate in socialize. Four Corners Park and Community Center. The Four Corners Park Community Center is a
Starting for our resident name, there are tennis courts in that Duvasset Park. Pickleball course. Yes. Or actually, the students who told us they really wanted to ask me outdoors tennis cases. That was the first time I heard that in a while. Supposed to be here soon for something.
The Four Corners Park and Community Center. Again, that's a heavily visited facility. It has over 200,000 visitors per year. Located on the corner of Old Richmond Road and West Belford and the Sugarland ECJ as well. The park recently received a major trail upgrade and a new splash pad. The new splash pad is user activated and uses 80% less water than the previous splash pads. The splash pad designs were determined by the YMCA youth outreach participants. The community center is rented frequently on weekends for basketball, volleyball, and hosting a meal on wheel programs and YMCA outreach programs. Hundreds of Fort Bend County residents play pickleball in the gym, 10 months each year. The park recently received over 80 trees that will be, receiving, I'm sorry, the park recently received over 80 trees and they were planted over on the side. Throughout the year, the park holds Fort Bend Animal Services, for their pet food drives. With the assistance of Pet Fort Bend, the park has an adult trike library where adults can borrow a trike to ride on the recently renovated trails. The park hosts weekly walks with Fort Bend County every Wednesday morning throughout the year. The most heavily used and green space in the park is the cricket field and the cricket batting cages. Some of the things that they do with regards to community gardens over there, they've made it very accessible even for those that are within wheelchairs. They actually developed a special, and you can kind of see it in the back. If you look over to the ladies to the left, there's a gentleman over there in a wheelchair, and they've actually created a above ground planning box so they could also participate. So one of the things that all of parks try to do is to make sure it's very inclusive with all residents within Fort Bend County. And as you can see, again, there's the guard there. You can see the trikes that we have there. And again, with the widening and rehabilitation and improvement of those trails, the trails are wide enough where you can still have those trikes going in opposite directions because of the width of the trails. And they're being very heavily used right now.
And we just got to know, just about our timing, so we could speed through the remaining parts.
Not a problem. To the son of a Baptist preacher, you cannot let me. I'll skip to the next one and we'll go to, as you can see, these are just other pictures of the improvements that have been made over there.
And just so folks know too, we have other projects in the pipeline for Four Corners, adding these shade structures over the playground, adding shaded park bench area for parents to watch the kids all day. Our planning to add the splash pad, something we had in partnership with Fort Bend Green Murals placed out there. We've done a lot of improvements in Four Corners, and a lot more to come.
All right, the next one's gonna be the Marigold Smart Homestead Project. And while he's pulling that up, I'm just gonna do a little bit of my reading while these renderings go in, because again, I can do my 2-minute warning sign. The park is just north of the Justice Center, over the levee in Richmond. The park has a gravel trail, that will go around the facilities. They'll also have outdoor exercise equipment, and recently became part of Fort Bend County Parks with the support of Commissioner Court. The park will soon be home to the Freedom Garden and will contain 7 sculptures. It is a historical home site of the Marigold Law, second president of the state of Texas. And what you're looking at is an animation rendering of the proposed site. We're real excited about this project.
This will be the county's very first sculpture garden, in both states, back to our public art. And so that's what will be here, and it's right across the street from the Justice Center. So when people are at some of their lowest days, they can go and get some reprieve and respite by coming and visiting this garden. We have 6 sculptures going in and 2 or 3 murals, I believe, along this trail. Some of the sculptures have already been coming, and then it features an amphitheater. There are a lot of events that are hosted, parking and otherwise, and there'll be a pavilion and amphitheater out there to make that a bit more easily of an event to have a home out there. Movie night soft event. So it's going to be another tourist attraction.
All right. The next one that I'm going to move to is the Mission Band Senior Center. Michigan Senior Center is actually under construction right now. We anticipate that, construction should be completed, sometime in the fourth quarter of 2027, first quarter of 2028, sometime right up there. There is, looking back up and you'll, if you pulls it up, you'll be able to see a rendering of that. Thank you very much. The next one I'm going to move on to, because of my time, is the Michigan West Park. Michigan West Park, just to kind of give you a geo reference, is north of Beachmont, south of Bel Air, and east of 1464, obviously, in the Lake Michigan West subdivision. The Michigan West Park is a smaller neighborhood park, and currently right now, there's a new splash pad being installed over there. They also have some proposed improvement. What you're looking at right now on the screen is the ultimate conceptual rendering for that particular park. That particular park, again, had a public input along with all projects for the most part. They had public input where the residents get to come in and participate. And one of the reasons why you want to do that is allowing the public to have input allows the residents to take ownership of a project. With that being said, T.W. Davis, I'm sorry, thank you. The T.W. Davis Park project is a park that's over in the city of Richmond. That particular project right there is a collaboration with the George Foundation, the Western Door, Fort Bend County, and the city of Richmond. And on that particular project right there, there'll be some major improvements came down there. Also, as with all projects, when there's an opportunity to collaborate with other jurisdictions, we try to just more than just the park improvements. That particular park will also try to help some of the drainage improvements over there that's along Grand Bayou that goes through that project. T.W. Davis has been in the area for a long time. That's going to conclude my report. So I don't need a few more time and keep us in the common manner. That's it. I'll sit down.
Thank you. We'll have Steve, our guiding engineer, telling me to give us updates, high level on our building projects. While he's doing that, I'll also say, we worked on a number of other projects prior to redistricting, which includes the completion of the first part of phase one of the African American Heritage Monument Park, a new indoor pickleball courts at Four Corners Community Center. We opened up a new Boys and Girls Club in North Rosenberg. You left that one off for the Commissioner Prestage. And then we're really proud to have been able to partner with State of Beasley on renovating their park, as well as King Kennedy Park in Kendallton. And we were working on a master plan for downtown Rosenberg with the Cole Theater as the center kind of driver for that study. But I'm not sure where that sits today. But before we got started on developing the Cole Theater and putting taxpayer dollars into that, that was by the way donated to the county. We wanted to make sure that whatever was programmed as fit the need of the community and would help economic development in downtown Rosenberg. And so that was one of the other projects that we were really proud of having been advancing towards some sort of organization. So, over to you.
Good morning. My name is Stacy Stolinski. I'm the county engineer. This is our commissioners board. They're working for the past few years. Before I get started on the mobility projects, I wanted to point out to the group that 2026 has seen the highest number of plats in the county since we've been tracking the number of plats. So if you've heard that development's slowing down, the engineering department has not stopped. We're looking at 8,000 new lots that have been planted to date, and we still have 2 more months left in this fiscal year. So that could easily exceed 9,000 lots when we hit October 1st. In addition to that, our commercial plants have doubled since 2019. So we just now put these numbers together a few days ago, and I was not going to pass up the opportunity to share with you guys today. So that was countywide. So today I'm going to cover a few of the critical precinct 4 projects. I did put together some quick numbers for both precinct 2 and 4. As Commissioner Prestage had indicated earlier, there's 45 active mobility projects in precinct 2, and there's nearly 30 of them in precinct 4. Out of those, we have over half of them are in the design phase, either preliminary or final design. But most people don't realize how long it takes to acquire right of way for these projects. So again, I'd like to remind everyone that the reason it takes so long to get into the construction phase, it's not that engineers are necessarily slowing the process down. It's just we have to buy right of way. When we widen the road, especially for the residential area, we're dealing with quite a few small properties, and we have to define each one of those properties and buy anywhere from 10 to 20 feet of each front yards. And it just takes, it can take a couple of years before we acquire all that right. So I know Commissioner Prestage would like the evergreen project to move along a little quicker. But there's a lot of small tracts of land that have to be acquired, and there's a legal process that's. So with that, I'll go ahead and jump into these few projects here. The first one is the traffic signal at Mason and Bel Air. If anyone in the audience has driven through there recently, you notice that intersection has been completed now for quite a while. Unfortunately, we've had some timing issues with getting the electricity connected. Obviously, the signal needs power, and we've been working with CenterPoint to get that meter installed. I was told that it was installed this week, maybe Monday or Tuesday this week. The meter was installed at the intersection. They're going through the final inspection process, and they will be testing that signal in the next few days. I was pushing for a commitment to activate it early next week, and that's where our hopes are, is to get that activated. I don't know if it's going to be Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, but of course we want to make sure that it's tested and everything's working perfectly. Obviously, it's a traffic signal before we can actually turn it on. Next one is the Harlem Road project. This is the segment from Wharton Road down to the south limits of Travis High School. This is a very congested intersection. A lot of traffic there with all the development that we've seen along 99 in the past few years. This project originally was just going to widen the existing asphalt road, but recently the commissioner decided that this is no longer a rural area. This is urban, and the roadway needs to match the development. So instead of just doing a simple asphalt widening, we go to a full concrete section roadway. With that wider road, like I said earlier, it requires additional right of way, and that's actually the phase of the project that we're at right now. Is that we're requiring that right of way. And as soon as the right of way is acquired, we will relocate any utilities that are in conflict, and we will start construction. The next project is the Mason and 99 turn lane project. This one has been on the books for quite a while. Again, it's just taking some time to acquire the right of way this meeting, as well as get the utilities out. This particular intersection is fully developed on all 4 corners. And when you see that development, what you don't see is all the utilities that are underground. So we've been working with the utility companies, getting all of those relocated, and we have been able to advertise this project. Right now, we're looking at starting construction, and we're pushing for late August. We're getting a little pushback from the contractor. They may not have the screws available in late August, so they start in the early September, but we're doing in order to start as soon as possible. Next one is the BeachNut Phase 2 project. This one is also advertised for construction, We were working with the contractor to initiate the to set the construction date. This project is including illumination, some intersection improvements, and we're also going to have to add slightly modify the roundabouts at the intersection. And the limits of this are Peak Road to just west of the Mason Road intersection. All right, next one is the Gaines Road segments 1 and 2. Both of these projects are under design. They're split at Westgate and Bayou. So the segment 1 project starts in the south near Falls Gas to the Old Richmond Road and goes up to Westgate and Bayou. And then the segment 2 is from Westgate up to the Fort Bend County line. This will take that narrow 2-lane asphalt road with open ditches and construct a wider 2-lane concrete road with a enclosed storm sewer system. We'll also have sidewalks too.
And I would just say this is one of those important personal legacy projects for me, having grown up in this area, watching people, you know, I have a picture of an elderly guy walking with a walker in the middle of the roadway to get up the road to a corner store. It's a very busy road with big open ditches, right? As the kids, unfortunately, I see bus toppled over. And we're improving in our newer areas with the great sidewalks and storm sewer and all of that, concrete roads. These folks deserve it too. And so really excited about, I think stage 2 of this project moving into construction here, I think early next year. Right? Or late this year. Let's see.
Next week.
Early next year, you're in the right of way. Thank you.
All right. The next project is one of my favorites. If you learn by mistakes, this is a prime example of the project that we have a lot of, let's just say challenges on this one. When you go down the road and you see homes on either side that are over 100 years old, that allows for utility companies to put utilities underground for the past 100 years. And that was the prime issue that we had with getting this project completed. We kept on running into old utility lines. And when you run into a western pipe, you don't know if that's a high pressure gas line or if there's crude oil in it, or if it's just an empty old water line. Sometimes you just can't tell, so it's not like you can put it out. So with that said, we're done. We're done with this project. It has taken on a new name, and it's now Richmond Parkway, and it's working great. Drop through often as well as the commissioners, and it's a very good project. And I was very excited.
And I would just say, as a result of that issue, we have now required subsurface utility exploration to be done on every single one of our projects before we go to construction. So we don't have that disruption in the public not having access to the roadway while we pause to figure out what is what. We weren't doing that before. So I thank your team for the meeting. Hoping us to.
And last project we want to mention is the 10th Street project. This one is we consider this regionally significant for the city of Richmond. Currently, North Richmond does not have any access to the south side of the railroad tracks if the train stops on the rail. It just happened a few months ago where a train derailed near Collins Street, and a lot of the crossings were blocked, and there was just no access to that area. So this project will include an overpass over the railroad, and technically it's not aligned with, the overpass isn't on 10th Street, it's actually on 11th Street, but it aligns with the FM 762 going to the south. So if you go up at FM 762 and you hit US 98, this project will continue the 762 corridor straight across 98, go over the railroad tracks where it merges with 10th Street, and then it will connect up to the brand new roundabout at Clay Road or Clay Street. So that Clay Street roundabout was part of this project, but since the city of Houston was, or not the city of Richmond, we're ready to move forward with the Place Street project, we went ahead and inserted that roundabout into their Place Street project. So this project will connect that roundabout to, FS 762 and 28 and give, very, good access to the, residents.
And this is no longer in precinct 4, but I wanted that to be part of this presentation because this again is another direct request from the community. They have been fighting for an overpass for decades because every time the train stops, I think there's like one exit out of it for emergency vehicles underneath the railroad in on Second Street. And so really happy that it's will be moving, but right away, that's taken an enormously long time. And Union Pacific approving permits is taking a while, but I'm excited this year it's starting.
Or we'll work with Union Pacific as soon as we get a clear schedule of when that permit is ready, and we can go ahead and advertise the project. I think there's still a few power poles in the way, but we're addressing those, issue with this, take care of it.
Okay. And then I'll just do these last couple, the Branson Road, similar issues that we had with Front Street. You know, this was a major improvement. If you drove through here at the hospital, you probably, went through a lot of the potholes that used to exist there. We upgraded that to a concrete road. And I think it was only it was 3 months delayed from its original completion time because of, you know, AT&T relocation and other things, but major improvement. Power line and Dan Road, we heard from residents that, you know, they wanted to see some improvements on this, that within that, quicker than the next 4 or 5 years, that's going to take us to fully reconstruct and replace this road. We get some additional paving of that, because of the high traffic area, and, I think that's it. Oh, and then we hearing concerns about, safety of speeding through, the Fieldstone community on, Ransom or on Mason Road. We, added this project, we put a modular roundabout in there. It's the perfect time in our state. It's mainly used on the East Coast. We were able to do this a whole lot cheaper than typical roundabouts cost and a whole lot faster than typical roundabouts cost. But for me, you know, we've got, every moment that we don't have this improvement be a signal light or other traffic calming measures is another moment that seems like is correct. And so we wanted to move on that. We also included roundabouts on that Gaines Road project where you can kind of see a house where a weak woman comes right into that backyard. He's put up statues. I'm not going to go over and campaigning. This guy put statues in the back of his house on the fence line to prevent cars from bringing into his house because they routinely would come through those back fences. So we added a roundabout here for their safety. One last thing that I will note is that we will have projects starting here, I think, the beginning of next month to improve pedestrian safety on Eugene Hyman Circle that we tagged onto the Floating Road project. The sidewalks on Floating Road Phase 1 will start here pretty soon, but we're also going to make pedestrian improvements on Eugene Hyman Circle with a raised crosswalk coming from the improved near Homestead Park to the Justice Center and doing some lane guiding to improve sight lines for drivers to be able to see pedestrians. Because if you ever gone to the Justice Center, you probably have to say a prayer when you're crossing that road because people just speed through there. So we're going to be starting on that, I believe, next month, right? We've already had the pre-construction meeting and we're moving on that. So I think that's signals. Okay, so there are a bunch of signals that are playing. Those are going. One of the differences, changes that we're making is putting together a program to pre-order the signal arms because those take now we're up to 9 to 12 months to get just the poles in, and that's too long to wait. So we're going to start stockpiling some of those poles so that they're already available. And you can go and move signals quicker. So again, thanks to the engineering teams. I think that's it. And you can get updates on your mobility projects by going to the mobility dashboard at bckids.mobility or scanning the QR code. So I think that's all we had.
That's all we had. It's my question. Yes.
It's not too late for a
Yeah, I think this is a lot of coming on in here, but yeah. But, I think, you stand between, lunch. Please, Mike.
You know, it's here on the see, I had it ready before you guys moved on. As you know, my name is Barbara Jones. I am from Kelton. I live in Richmond, but my heart always remains in Kelton. And I'm first from the thing, but you go into state, that's right. Commissioner Prestage mentioned earlier that regardless of the precinct that you guys represent, that you all work together and agree what is best for the county. And I truly appreciate the spirit of collaboration. While it's encouraging to see the progress and investments in made across many of the city of Portland County, the city of Kelton has not been afforded the same opportunities. The citizens of Kelton have faithfully paid county taxes since the late 1860s, yet they have not seen the level of investment that their tax dollars should provide. There are streets in Kelton, using your own words, Commissioner Prestige, that remain in such poor condition that they resemble the roads and a developing nation. Our children deserve safe places to learn to swim, families deserve well-maintained roads to travel, and the community deserves facilities for residents can gather for events and activities. Once you all have reconvened as a full commissioner's court, I have lots of time on my hand, and I will be back to present the same to the full court. And although Kelton is one of the smaller communities in Portland County, its size can never determine its worth or quality of the services that its residents receive. I respectfully ask that council not be forgotten. Both of you have served as commissioners for the city council, so I know you understand exactly what I described. I'm simply asking that council receive the same consideration, investment, and opportunities in every community in Portland County. Thank you.
This has been, enjoyable, endeavor. I didn't know what to expect with this, but I'm happy that we had. It was a, decision we made not too long ago to engage the public. When it's all said and done, we all love Fulton County. Everybody wants the best for Fulton County. And I trust and pray that Fulton County will continue to live up to its promise as a diverse, loving community that's special in the hearts of everyone. So again, say a prayer for Fulton County and pray for us as we try to continue to be the public services you want us to be. Thank you.